The English log cabin was originally located in Winston, Florida, and built in 1888. The land had been purchased by Hackney English, and the cabin built by Cornelius English and his brother James Jackson, also known as Old Man Jack. The cabin was used as a family residence until the 1900s, and was where Cornelius English and his wife raised 3 children. The building is a prime example of the earliest type of Polk pioneer dwelling, the single-pen log cabin, which could be added to and was perfectly adapted to the Florida climate. Using the basic materials and skills at hand, these simple shelters were quickly erected without fancy detail and decoration. Note the shady wraparound porch, which gave the occupants some relief from the Florida sun. In the warmer months, the porch became the place where most of the daily chores were done, and sometimes at night, sleeping on the porch would be cooler than inside the cabin. Chores that involved water, such as laundry, required you to go and get the water. For many families, this meant gathering water from a hydrant, a pump, a well, or a stream. It is estimated that you would have to go get water 8 to 10 times a day. One chore you would need water for was washing clothes. The first step of washing clothes was to soak them in a tub of warm water overnight. In the morning, you would scrub the laundry on a washboard and rub it with soap. Next, the laundry had to be stirred in a big vat of boiling water. Then the laundry would be rinsed with water, wrung out, and finally hung out to dry. Prior to the 1890s, foods were rarely prepared in a factory. You would have to know how to prepare unprocessed foods for consumption. Animals would be bought, still alive, and you would have to prepare them yourselves. Loaves of sugar had to be pounded, flour would be sifted, nuts needed to be shelled, and raisins seeded. Using cast iron or steel stoves to cook was a difficult task. First, any ashes left from an old fire had to be removed. Then you would place paper and kindling inside the stove. After, you would adjust the dampers and flues, and you would light a fire. If the fire would start to dwindle, you would have to adjust a flue or add more fuel. Cleaning was an exhausting task for families in the 19th century. The smoke from the stoves would blacken the walls and dirty the drapes and carpets. Gas and kerosene lamps would leave smelly deposits that would need to be wiped up. The lamp's glass would also need to be wiped, and the wicks trimmed or replaced. Floors had to be scrubbed, and rugs had to be beaten. In 1972, John English, the great-grandson of Hackney English, restored the log cabin due to its poor condition and removed a white sand brick fireplace near the cabin entrance. The English family retained ownership of the cabin and used it as a recreation cabin until it was donated to the park by John and Connie English. It was moved to Homeland Heritage Park in 1989. This log cabin is one of the last of its kind in Polk County.